F103 is the internal designation for a series of car models produced by Auto Union GmbH in West Germany from 1965 to 1972, derived from the earlier DKW F102. To signify the change from a two-stroke to four-stroke engine, the DKW marque was dropped in favour of Audi, a name dormant since before the Second World War. The first model was launched simply as the Audi, later being renamed the Audi 72, also known as horsepower per M. The more powerful Audi 80 and Audi Super 90 sports saloons appeared in 1966. In 1968, the arrival of the less powerful Audi 60 completed the range. The Audi 75 replaced both the Audi 72 and the Audi 80 from 1969 onwards. In 1972, the F103 series was discontinued in favour of the B1 Audi 80. The F103 series were equipped exclusively with four-cylinder four-stroke engines. These were longitudinally mounted. This combination of front-wheel drive, which Auto Union's DKW brand had pioneered during the 1930s, and the longitudinal positioning of a four-cylinder engine would provide the basic template for Volkswagen's successful new Passat as well as the Audi models Audi 80 and Audi 100 after Volkswagenwerk AG acquired the Auto Union from Daimler-Benz late in 1964. Since the chassis on the F103 was taken from the DKW F102 with a three-cylinder two-stroke engine, the longer engine meant that the cooling system had to be offset to the left of the engine instead of the normal position in front of it. Because of the radiator arrest location, the front cylinder of the engine had a tendency to run cooler than the other three, and as a consequence the spark plug tended to foul up, particularly if the engine was often used in city traffic. To avoid this, it was often recommended to run a hotter spark plug in the front cylinder than in the other three. The engines of the F103 series were a development of Daimler-Benz for a military project that never came into being. They were dubbed the Mitteldruckmotor because of their unusually high BMEP values, which led to a good thermodynamic efficiency. The engines had spiral-formed intake channels that gave the fuel-air mixture a good swirl. The engine had Hurrent-type combustion chambers with broad squish bands, further enhancing the mixture swirl and aiding good combustion. These features made it possible to use very high compression ratios for the time. The initial engine version had a CR of 11.2 to 1 for 98 RON fuel, and even the engines intended for 92 RON fuel had a CR of 9 to 1, which was a very unusually high value for the time. Inboard-mounted front disc brakes were featured, which was still unusual in the mid-size car market at this time. The rear brakes followed the more conventional drum configuration. The F103 body shell was a development of the earlier DKW F102. The engine compartment had to be extended so that the new four-cylinder engine could be accommodated. The front and tail were also cosmetically revised. Audi F103 sold in Europe all featured quasi-rectangular headlamps which were becoming fashionable at the time, whereas the F102 had used round headlamp units. All Audi F103 models were offered as sedans with 2 and 4 doors. The two-door saloon/sedan, however, was not sold in markets such as Italy and Britain, with little demand for two-door cars of this size. With the exception of the Audi Super 90, the F103 series were available also as three-door station wagon models, making its debut at the Geneva Motor Show in March 1966. This was called, like the Volkswagen estate/station wagon models, variant. Initial changes were concentrated under the hood/bonnet, where during the first 2 years of production the specification for the Solex carburetor was changed twice, and in September 1967 the very high compression ratio was reduced from a eye-watering 111.2 to 1:9.1, which addressed serious teething problems with the engine as originally launched. In September 1967 servo assistance for the brakes became an option, the brakes on all but the basic model now being controlled using twin braking circuits. and by the final months of 1968 the range had settled down to 3 models, with the entry-level Audi 60 powered by a 55 PS motor, the less basic Audi 75 producing 75 PS, and the Audi Super 90 with 90 PS, able to challenge the performance image of some of the smaller BMWs.